My name is Vanessa Hayes. Welcome to my studio. Today we are painting this landscape to practice our field of depth. We will paint distant mountains, a tree line in the middle ground, and textured grasses and flowers in the foreground. I sketched out a horizon line about 1/3 up the paper. I've sketched mountains in the distance and a tree line in the middle ground. I have taped the edges for a clean border. I'm wetting the sky area with my number 2 squirrel mop down to the mountains. And I'm working around the mountains. For the sky, I'm using Manganese. And I'm leaving white areas for some soft clouds. I'm lifting off the area of the mountains with a clean, damp brush, and I'm softening the edges of the sky in the mountains to avoid too hard edges. I'm also lifting and softening here and there for the clouds. Now let's dry the sky area. And I'm removing any excess paint and water at the taped edge with a dry brush. For the mountains, I'm using rare green earth, a lovely grayish green. I'm using a lighter value at the base of the mountains at the horizon line. Now I'm dotting in some lunar blue to blend into the wet paint and give some variety of color, also to keep the cool tone of the distant mountains. The tones are cooler in the distance and will warm up as you move closer to the foreground. And now we let it dry. Now that it's dry, let's move along to the trees in the middle ground. With the number 4 long round, I'm using Undersea green And I'm painting across the tree line down to the horizon line. And I'm varying the height of the trees along that line. The trees are a little too dark, so I'm dropping in some watered down sap green. Next, I'm lifting off some of the paint to create some highlights in the trees. We will let that dry a bit and work on our foreground. First, I'm using yellow ochre as my base with the strongest concentration at the bottom of the page. And using a watered down lighter value as I move towards the middle. Now I'm adding a brighter nickel azo yellow for the look of sunshine on the ground. Next, I'm adding some sap green into the wet paint. Then some Cascade green here and there. And now I'm adding Undersea green. For the distant grass, I'm using a mix of sap green and Undersea green. I'm adding a deeper value of Undersea green to the bottom of the page. I'm sprinkling salt at the bottom of the page to try and get some texture. For some additional texture, I'm using a small palette knife to scrape some lines for grasses. Using the palette knife while the paint is still extremely wet will leave indentions in the paper where the paint will fill and create thin, dark lines. Moving into the distant middle ground grass area, I'm using sap green. I don't want much detail in this area because the eye naturally does not see the details in the distance. While the paint is still wet, I'm adding some Cascade green, which has a blue tone and will keep the cooler tones in the distance. I was looking at the hills in the background and decided I need to glaze with Moonglow. Unfortunately, I started painting before I turned on the camera. The Moonglow is adding more of a purple tone to the distant mountains. I like that much better. I'm just dotting in some texture. Because the paint is still very wet, it will still blend very nicely. And now we let this dry. Let's add some trees. With my number 4 long round, I'm using burnt umber to paint the tree. The long round brush has a nice point and works well to paint the small branches. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just the frame to add our leaves. Now let's set the base of the tree into the ground by swiping the brush across the grass at the base. For the leaves, I'm using a 3/8" filbert grainer from Princeton Velvetouch. I love this brush for leaves and grasses. You can also use a ragged old brush, a fan brush, or a deerfoot brush. Really, any brush will work fine. I'm starting with my lightest value using green gold. I'm dotting around to create clusters of leaves in the tree. This lighter color will be the area where the light is hitting the tree. Next, I'm using sap green for my mid-green color under the green gold. And last, I'm adding shadows on the underside using Undersea green. Always keep in mind the direction of the light source. In this painting, with the bright sky, my light source is coming from the top right. The lower the leaves, the less light that hits them. We need to add some shadow under the tree. I'll add some Undersea green here. Let's add another tree a little farther in the distance. This tree will be smaller and lighter to keep our proportions right and set the tree back. I'm painting this tree the same way I painted the first tree, but with a little less detail to the branches and the leaves. Now I'm adding shadows under the second tree and a little more shadow value under the first tree. There was a drip from my brush, so I'll remove that with a paper towel. Moving to the foreground grasses, I'm using the number 4 long round and I'm painting with Undersea green. The salt has left some texture and I do not want to cover that up. And adding more grass on the left-hand side. I'm filling in with the darker value at the base of the grasses to create some shadow. I decided to add some color in the middle section of the foreground, so I'm using Ochre pink to dot in some flowers. Next, I'm adding some Quin Magenta to the flowers for variety. And now we need to let this dry. Let's go in with some sap green under the flowers. We needed the flowers to be dry so the green would not blend and muddy the colors of the flowers. The distant tree needs more shadow on the leaves, so I'm adding Undersea green. And I'm also adding some indication of shadows to the grass areas in the foreground. Now the painting needs to dry completely. Let's remove the salt with the palette knife. And then let's remove the tape so that we can look at our painting with nice clean borders. And here's our finished painting. I hope you enjoyed this painting. If so, please give a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications when my next video is up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.